Some months ago, I found a post where they had this pie graph, and this pie graph was about what kindness is about versus what it isn't about. In the first pie graph, it was segmented into three parts, and then the next pie graph was segmented into 8 parts. And I saved it because I knew I was going to make a video about it, because to be fair, sometimes I personally struggle to describe the ways that I know I am a kind person, but maybe my delivery is not the best. And I thought I would take my sweet time at describing how I feel about the way that these charts were established and how I can relate to them or the experiences I have with them, etc., that type of thing. And hopefully, some of you guys maybe find yourselves in the same situation that I am, which is I wouldn't think that everyone ever who knows me would instantly say she's super kind, she's super sweet, all that, because that's not exactly how I present myself. All I know is how to comport myself. I'm not an asshole, but I'm also not fake. Upon examining this graph, I felt like this would help me describe myself better when it comes to my temperament. I'm going to start with the chart about what kindness isn't about. A third of this chart is making big promises. I never make big promises because I feel like promises are for politicians. I make guarantees. If I make a commitment to show up to a place, I will show up to that place, and period. It's not an I promise I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna do this and that. It's no, I, as the individual representative of myself, you can count on me, but I cannot make promises that say, if you want to see, for example, my boyfriend and I together, I can't control him. I cannot promise that he's going to come with me, but I, at the very least on my part, I can guarantee that I will make my presence happen. But other people who may be riding with me, I can't vouch for them. And I also think that making big promises, it's kind of like hyping yourself up, because maybe naturally you really don't know how to be intriguing. You really don't know how to be impactful, and you resort to making big promises. I also associate big promises with scams. You ever see those ads that promise that you'll have clear skin, that something will de-age you by 15 years, this and that, all those things that play in your psychology? I can't do that. I'm not like that. Smiling all the time. Of course, you guys know I have stories with this one, especially in the world of retail, where people for some reason would rather have a sociopath version of you, which is you're showing teeth all the time. Fortunately for me, I wear the mask all the time. I also continue to wear it precisely because I got sick of people making comments on my face. Even if they're nice comments, but especially the ones that are stupid ass comments, such as, why aren't you smiling? Where's my smile at? Some days I just don't feel like smiling, and I don't think that smiling should be something expected from you. In places like this, I think courtesy delivered in a neutral tone should suffice, as opposed to having this higher pitch, smiley, fake attitude. We all know this is not how we are. Are you smiling all the time when you're at home? Are you smiling all the time when someone cuts you off in traffic? Are you smiling all the time when someone is cussing you out? All that shit? No, right? Why would you expect it from me for 8 hours? So I think people need to get comfortable with you not being able to observe someone superficially, all of their features, all of their details, and make a determination about them. If you don't see me smiling, that doesn't mean I'm unhappy. It doesn't mean I'm an asshole. It doesn't mean I'm inefficient or whatever. It just means that for some reason, your eyes is something that matter to you a lot. Whatever you pick up from out there, it has a huge influence on you, on me. What influences me is result, not appearances. I think this is one of those things that people need to calm down. Just because I'm smiling at you, it doesn't mean I love you, just so you know. I think some people are shocked when they experience the side of me that's brutally honest, and I guess project my message with the proper tone, let it be matching the mood of whatever the subject is, and that shocks you a bit. I'm guessing you got used to surrounding yourself by toxic positivity. I'm not that person. I wasn't raised like that. When I went to school, that's not the kind of schooling I got. You just gotta get comfortable with dealing with people who don't smile at you all the time. Today, for example, the maintenance guy came over to take pictures of some of the damages I have reported that need fixing. My customer service came out. I was like, hey, how's it going? I was smiling at him. He wasn't smiling at me. He didn't smile at me at all, but he didn't have an asshole tone. He wasn't rude. He told me, all right, thanks for showing me around. I'll schedule you for your fixes and you enjoy the rest of your day. Like that. I enjoyed that. It was great. It was perfect. I wasn't offended because I wasn't paying attention to that. I don't expect for someone to smile back at me just because I'm smiling at them. It's when I encounter a stranger, especially a stranger performing a service for me, I always bring that out. That is my default. I will always have that cordial, maybe even jovial tone to me. But outside of that, I'm done. I'm through. You be however you want to be, and I'll be how I want to be. And finally, the third part of this path is flattering people. When it comes to flattery, I find that kind of cringe. Sometimes I feel like, in a sense, it's someone who's insecure with themselves trying to say something to you to lower your guard so that way you can coexist at the same level as this other person. I could be completely wrong. But I only say that because, for instance, I personally don't have flattery tendencies. I'm never flattered, nor do I flatter other people. But when someone else admits that they're flattered by something that someone else does or say, I kind of feel bad for them because I look at it as, fucking hell, here we go again. This is a person easily impressed, is easily influenced. And like I have said before here many times, learn to be difficult to impress. The harder you are to impress, the harder you are to manipulate. The harder you are to manipulate, the less likely you are to be a victim of something bad, like scams or being lied to. That concludes the side of what kindness isn't about, that little pie chart that I was describing. Now we're going to enter the territory of what kindness is about. The 3 segments had different colors, of course. One was red, one was blue, one was a beige shade. And then this next one, because it's 8 pieces, it has different colors. There's purple, lighter blue, blue, sage, seafoam green, beige, a pale red, like a blush kind of shade, and then a red shade. And I wonder if that's going to matter, but maybe it's just for decorative purposes. I don't think that there's a color that is selected specifically for a certain category for a reason. I think it's just to distinguish the sections a little better. What kindness is about is offering real support. I believe in that 100%. I'm not the kind of person who is present by just being there and you tell me something and all I do is, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it gets better, this and that. I'm like, thank you for sharing with me. I'm devastated to hear that, say, you're in this kind of pain because you just had fucking surgery or you experienced a fall or something like that. Don't overwork yourself. If there's something that's going to be too physically demanding, you call me, you holler at me, you ask for me to help you with this. Something like that. I'm more of an active supporter more than a passive one. Some people say they would prefer for the person to ask directly. I simply was not born or raised to be like that. I was raised being more active about those things. And I think that's why my at your service attitude comes from. This is especially true when I'm at work. I'm always aware of my elderly colleagues. One night I was working inventory with one of them and I was like, since we're in the same aisle and I know that you cannot reach the floor, when it comes time to count the floor, you tell me and we can trade spots. You will continue my section that sits a little higher. I will finish your bottom section and then we can switch again. All I kept hearing that night was, Zam, Zam, Zam. It's time for the floor. It's time for the floor. I did not mind that at all because I made this plan with this older person. And I feel like my support meant a lot to them in the same manner that their support means a lot to me. Because if it were me going through that situation, I need the job, I need to eat. Please don't let my job performance look bad just because I'm disabled. I also feel like it does wonders for my morale. It does wonders for this person's morale. And I think that overall, if they see people in the team willing to step up like that for each other, this creates a better sense of community within the job. Celebrating others' wins. This one is kind of difficult for me. It's awkward. I am not used to being praised very often. It's not something I really grew up with. I'm not saying that my mom never praised me, never celebrated me, but it was just not often. It was not really anything over the top. It was probably like twice a year. Oh, you made good grades, you made it to the honor roll. Good job. You better, because otherwise you're gonna get spanked. That type of thing. It was like a conditional kind of celebration. Now, when it comes to other people, when other people tell me that something is going well for them, I don't tend to have a reaction really. And it's not because I'm not happy for you or I cannot imagine feeling happy for you or that I think it's something insignificant. Clearly, it's something that means something to you, but to me, it's like, meh, I'm not a part of it, so I don't care. Nothing like that. It's more of when someone shares something like that with me, I need a moment to absorb it, to let it marinate, and then the actual meaning of what this achievement means for you hits me to where I can celebrate it along with you. To explain this better, if you are someone from a different industry, a different career, telling me about something that I cannot relate to, like say your achievement as a parent, your achievement as a fucking astronaut, something like that, because I cannot imagine that instantly, it takes me a second to feel that level of enthusiasm that you're feeling, because again, it's not something that I can relate to. But I'm glad that you're sharing your moment of triumph with me. Now, if we're from the same squad, if we're from the same industry, from the same job, something like that, I will be right there with you, with the confetti, with the balloons, all that, cheering you on, all that stuff, because this is my world. We are from the same squad. We are from the same nest. And I know what it's like to achieve something that you've been working hard toward. Whereas if it's coming from a source that I don't relate much to, it's just a little harder. It doesn't mean I value them any less. I'm just saying that the reaction you're going to get from me will be different because I'm just not from that world. I do not know quite as well what this means to you if it's something I don't understand, but we can meet in the territory of it meaning a lot to you that you achieved something. And I think that being part of someone else's celebrations is also a good testament to your relationship with them. If they're willing to share that with you and tell you about it, especially if they tell you about it before anyone else, you know you're special. You know you mean a lot to someone, especially if this is someone who often feels like they're by themselves. I can see how celebrating others as wins is certainly an act of kindness. Truly listening. This one, I admit in my personal time, in my personal life, it can be a little hard for me, especially if it's something that I started. Like if I'm the one who started a conversation, I started a topic, and I'm going on and on and on about it, I look at it as this is my episode, this is my show. Therefore, I'm going to have the primary part in the speaking. And I'm not saying that nobody else can have a part in speaking. It's all about you listen to me. I'm talking at you and not with you. It's more of I needed this time to talk uninterrupted because I needed to let this out. It's something that maybe I have bottled up for too long. And now it's my time to finally let it out, project it, and I wish to not have any interruptions to my flow. Now, if it's somebody else, they're having their moment, say sharing a story about loss, sharing a story of a struggle, sharing something like that, just something about a triumph of theirs, whatever. I can be an absolute tome. I can look absolutely Like I am a stone. I don't move, I don't talk, I don't breathe. You don't feel anything from me. I'm still alive, don't worry. But the reason I do that is because it's now your turn. It's your episode, it's your show. Therefore, I'm the audience. And as the audience, I don't interfere with what the play has unfolding on the stage. But the reason I say I may struggle with it sometimes is because sometimes when somebody else is talking about something, and let's say it's something nugatory, it's not necessarily something that is serious or sad, because I would know better than that. I know proper etiquette when it comes to, okay, someone is expressing mourning and stuff. It's not about me. But if you are talking about something that's an average topic and I relate to it because either I just went through it or I just read something about it or just watched a video on it or something, I will get excited. And because I get so excited about that topic, given that I'm usually a quiet person in my day, I don't go out of my way to engage with anybody. Then to hear someone else having something in common with me, I want to get involved because you are taking part in something that interests me, but it doesn't seem to be something that regularly interests others, or at least it's not a priority for others. I wouldn't know others know or like this stuff unless I asked them, for they're not asking me, or maybe they wouldn't know to ask me, something like that. I like it when I get exultant about a subject because it is rare that I ever get excited about something to the point that I'm talking about it back with you. And sometimes I can't contain myself. I can't contain my excitement. And I can either finish somebody else's sentences or I start sharing immediately how it is that what they're saying pertains to me, stuff like that. And I can see how that could annoy a couple of people if I don't make sure that I give them their chance to express themselves without any interruptions. But sometimes it's hard. And like I said, I make sure that when shit like that happens, it's with nugatory stuff. It's not with important things. If it were important things, of course, you gotta have your turn, you gotta have your episode. But if it's something stupid like a TV show, a topic about violence in the city that maybe you witnessed the beginning of it and I caught the ending of it. The reason I call it trivial is because we're not directly impacted, but I'm excited that you have the part of the story that I don't have, and now you have the part of the story that you didn't have, and I'm sharing it with you. Standing up for others, I can absolutely see how this would be a complete act of kindness, because I have had the privilege of being in the position where I'm receiving the defense, and I have also been in the position where I'm giving the defense. Honestly, I don't know which position I like the most. I want to say I like to have the position of power and be like, yeah, I'm the one who is defending the other person. But unfortunately for me, I feel like I cannot get involved unless I have a solid case. Because if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to get involved in something, I'm going to do it because I'm going to win. I don't like to play that game of cat and mouse and all that stuff. This is not a soap opera. But when I am the recipient of someone standing up for me, it means a lot, because sometimes I feel like I'm alone and like nobody really notices me. It also doesn't help that I don't try to get attention on myself as my day goes by. And if I do want to say something or go over something or confront something, I will always do it at the back of the house. I will do it in a secluded manner. I'm not going to do it out in public or in a group, in a meeting, nothing like that. The times that I have been the recipient of defense, it really means a lot, because it also lets me know that someone truly notices my efforts, and they also respect my dignity that I know I have. And at the same time, when it is my turn to do the standing up for someone else, I also do it because that's all I have in my mind. It's, no, this person has dignity and I'm going to uphold it and preserve it, make others respect them, and this is how. I am not going to, once again, feed into any drama. And I think one of the things that I can say I do very well is when someone is being unjust or someone is the victim of injustices, I cannot stand that at all. It really makes my blood boil. And I guess that happens to me because it's saying something about myself as well. But hey, I just know that I do it because it's something I enjoy doing, but also I know that at some point someone will serve me in this manner. And I know how important, how much of an impact it was for me. Why not continue it? And I also think that when you stand up for someone else, it's kind of like helping someone from falling apart. It helps me from falling apart, it helps someone else from falling apart, and it feels like you're contributing a valuable piece, which could be protection for someone or helping them express themselves when they don't know how to. Those little things. Giving specific praise. I believe in this 100% because sometimes I feel like the praise that I witness other people receiving, I feel like it's very generic and it likes to dismiss or ignore some blatantly obvious concerns that we should have for this person. So if it's my turn to praise someone who I feel like is problematic, I'll always put the emphasis on the item that is actually worthy of praise, as opposed to, I'm praising you because all of you is amazing. Nah, you do some things right, you do some things wrong. And if it were me, I also would want someone to treat me in that manner. I know that there are some things about me that are utterly irritating. I am aware. So if you're going to praise me and compliment me for something, you better not make it generic. Make it specific. Be like, hey, I have observed how you have been putting effort into improving this thing. I appreciate it. And I have observed your growth. Keep it going. Boom. That's great. But when you try to flatter me, I guess that's when it gets a little cringe and it feels a little sus. Remembering the details. This one is one of my favorite ones because I find it strange that some people are shocked or impressed by how I remember details about them. Let it be their birthdays, a story they told me, their parents' names, their divorce dates, the time that they told me their kid had an accident, their parents passing on dates. If you share with me details, like I have said before here on the channel, I'm not a fucking zombie. I am going to retain it. Maybe I won't always be able to retain exact detail for detail stuff. I'm not a creep. But at the very least, I will remember that this happened on a winter day, or maybe this happened on the month of August, or maybe the person with this name, you told me they were involved in this and that. How are they doing? Are they better? Are they worse? Are they still with us? Those things. I remember things. And that's only possible if you're actively listening. If you're giving someone else the floor space to have their moment to describe things, especially describe them uninterrupted. You ever watch a movie or a TV show with someone who just does not know how to shut up as you're watching it because they have watched it and they're telling you what's about to happen, or they have never seen it before, and as you're watching it, they're making their fucking commentary, and then I go like, what did they say? And they go like, oh, I don't know, I missed it. So then I have to fucking rewind, and when I rewind, it messes with the flow of my thoughts. The way I learn is I absorb things in one shot, in one take. That's how I started this channel. I used to make my videos in one shot, in one take, because I know how to flow. But when I have those pauses, those interruptions, that shit drives me bonkers. And it's so bad that I used to get mad at my job anytime I had to train somebody and they would ask me to cover something else or do something else or go somewhere else. And I'm like, no, if you assigned me with the task of educating this person into getting used to their role, you're going to leave me alone with them all day. Because if you start interrupting me, I'm going to get frustrated because I was getting ready to tell them about something important, but now you interrupted me. Now I don't get to tell them about this important thing, and now it's going to interrupt their flow of learning as well. It's not just about me, and my ability to express things. It's also about the other person and their ability to have an uninterrupted, untainted learning experience. I think that remembering the details is something very kind to do for someone. It also goes to show that you're present with them and that your involvement with them was time well spent, as opposed to we hang out together but you don't remember a damn thing about me. Like, say I have some coworkers who I tell them at what time I get off when they ask me, and then 10 minutes later, at what time do you get off? Like, you ask me 5 times in my day at what time I'm getting off. It has not changed. All right, where are you? What are you doing? Sometimes I think people like that, they like to be seen with company, but it's not necessarily worthwhile company. Be aware. Being honest. This one is absolutely one trait that I take great pride in. And over the years, I can say it's one trait that I have received a lot of compliments on. Because boy, I know how to not hold back. And when I was a kid, I was undoubtedly punished a lot because I was honest. You know how sometimes you may hang out with an adult who they don't want something to be told, or maybe they tell little white lies about things here and there, and you know that it's a lie and you call out the lie, and then you get in trouble because you exposed them for lying, that type of thing. I suffered a lot from being that way because I was being inculcated as a kid to not fucking lie, but here I am witnessing someone fucking lying, and I'm taking action against that, but I'm getting punished. Fortunately, I didn't grow up into being someone who would start lying just because that was the experience I had as a child, where me being honest was not rewarded. But I gotta say that living a life of honesty is the most liberating thing ever. You get to just live. You don't have to maintain an appearance, maintain a story, nothing like that, no intrigues. You don't live with the fear of someone uncovering the truth that you've been withholding. I don't have time for that shit. And I also know how damaging it is for someone to fucking lie to you. Why would I do that? So be honest, even if the other person is not prepared to receive your information, your honest information. Always be truthful. Not necessarily with a tone to be mean or cruel towards somebody, but you can always deliver the truth in a way that you can adjust it for the audience to digest it well. In other words, think of the truth as poking a needle in you. You know that nobody likes to be poked with needles. Well, give a little bit of an anesthesia to the spot before you stab the needle onto the spot. That's the way I look at honesty. You will deliver the antidote. You will deliver that medicine, which is the truth. But perhaps you need to prepare the wound that the person has to be able to receive this medicine. So numb it up a little bit and then deliver the truth. How you do that is up to you, but just don't deprive the person of the truth. That's the point. And then finally, acting with empathy. I gotta say, I personally can't say that I'm on the fence with empathy, because there are some behaviors, some decisions, some conducts that I sincerely don't understand. And it makes it really hard for me to feel empathy. For instance, when you disrespect figures of authority and you start experiencing the consequences, it's hard to feel empathetic towards you if all you had to do was comply, was be respectful, was follow instructions. That's easy. And other times that I may struggle with empathy is when you go to a place and you just show up expecting for things to be done for you, but you didn't do your part to ensure that you are served properly. Say, if you're going to file your taxes, why don't you have your ID? Why don't you have your birth certificate? Why don't you have your social security number? Why don't you have your documentation up to date? Why don't you have your life organized? Be organized. Same thing in retail. Why is it that if you want to get a discount, you didn't bring the coupon? Or you don't know how to keep that coupon attached to the product so that as you're shopping, you don't lose it. Sometimes I have people who come up going like, this had a coupon, but it doesn't have it anymore. Can you apply it? No, I gotta have the coupon present. That type of thing. Just come prepared. All you have to do in life is show up, but also show up prepared. And if you don't know what to expect, make sure that you're prepared to satisfy your basic needs. Say, if you're going to take your vehicle to service, bring your own water, bring your own food. That way, if it takes 5-6 hours for your car to be serviced, you survive those 5-6 hours with no problems. Bring your entertainment, bring batteries, bring your charger, bring your computer, bring headphones, bring a pillow, bring a blanket, whatever you have to do. But don't expect for others to have those things ready for you to access as if you're a kid who needs their needs met. You meet your own needs, for only you know what your needs are. Well, there you guys have it. That's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's my opinion on this matter. I'm not saying that my answers are perfect. They're the way to be. They're the most righteous of them all. This is how they pertain to me, how I experience them, how I perceive them, how I feel them. Me. You do your part of thinking about this and determine in what ways you relate to this, how this impacts you. That's about it. I'm just saying that on my part, that's how I perceive it. Okay, that's it. Bye.